You know what I mean? We will not allow nobody to assassinate our character. We defend each other in our absence. You don't let nobody talk about your brother or your sister in the name of our Allah. We don't believe in backbiting. We do man and woman things. We tell you to your face. Allah said, I don't talk about people, I tell you what they do. So we got to get back on that even here in the land of truth. We must make knowledge born regardless of whom or what. There is no methodology. Because these methodologies is what's been keeping us back from growing as a nation. Trying this method, trying that method. Let's do what the man did. The man said, let the babies be great. And yeah, Allah said, make babies and be fruitful and multiply. But he also said, get a job, get a trade, and educate yourself. So he did tell you to get a damn job. Because since I was 14, we was told to go to work. So I don't know where that came from. We were all taught to go to work and stay in school. I graduated from junior high school with knowledge of self. And we got some work out here to do, God and Earths. We got some works to do. We are family. Let's start treating each other like family. Let's tear down north side, south side, west side, east side. Let's tear those walls down, Trenton, amongst the gods and Earths. Let the 85%ers get caught up in the tribalistic things that go on. I'm from north. I'm from west. I wear New Balances because I'm from the north side, west side, best side. Let the 85% stick to that. Because if you know your lessons, you know that every square inch of this belongs to you. But talking about growth, talking about behavioral issues. When you get knowledge of self, your behavior is supposed to change, but it ain't gonna change overnight. Just understand it coming time. You gotta go through 6 to get to 7. And you know that's some hell. So it ain't gonna be overnight. It ain't no overnight success in this. Peace.
Peace. But I done been in New York, Detroit, Virginia. Everybody gets questioned. This is not salam alaikum, wa alaikum salam, how's the family? This is peace, God, peace, earth. What's today's mathematics? Coinciding with today's date. Let's build. This is what we do. Me and Brothers and Force, like, we go all over basically. And people challenge you. Straight up, like when you say you about this, like, you know what I'm saying, and you about this flag, hey, you better be on your square. Because people coming for you, straight and down. And you saying that you're God. Now let me explain to you the cipher that you walked into today. The belief system is destroyed in this cipher. We don't deal with belief here. We use knowledge as our foundation. Knowledge is our foundation, and this destroys the belief system. Like the God said, this is the culture of our God. That's my name. Our God implies that the black man is born God by birthright, and that God's presence and power and all of his might is to be projected by, through, and within the intelligence and life existence of the original man, thus eliminating the often told lie of God ever being a mystery God or some unseen spiritual spook that exists everywhere. That eliminates that. And we don't deal with belief here. Knowledge is the foundation. Peace.
Peace.
Peace, man.
Peace.
Peace. I come to the name of freedom, born of love. And I just wanted to come through today, you know what I mean? Because my born universal truth. My daughter asked me, she said, when I first came up here, so this is the second time I've been back. And she asked me, she said, Daddy, what's going on? So I had to let knowledge be born, because knowledge has to be born, and then has to be born back to knowledge. Even with my seed, I had to let her know, like, I'm God body. You know, I'm your dad, but I'm God body. Well, what is God body? You know what I mean? I belong to the nation of gods on earth. This is my family. Then not only that, to add on to the cipher, I had brought my old earth with me, because she don't understand how long I had knowledge of self, but a lot of people don't even know how these things work. You know, understand what I'm saying? So it just really felt good, because a lot of times, like I said, we know and understand it starts with the baby. So who other baby who it can start with than my own? So you know what I mean? I do my duty as the father, one who's fat and hurt at home. And then not only that, I go ahead and deal in equality when I'm out here on the streets. You know what I mean? And then I was just telling to the guy the past night, like we was adding on downtown. And I usually don't even be downtown at certain times of night. But when you got another guy and y'all dealing with universal language, everything around you doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? And then like, I noticed in my travels, because we all travel our ciphers differently, like, you know what I mean? I have a lot of guys that come and say, what's up? And I step back and I'm like, what you mean, what's up, or what's good? I don't deal with that. Because peace is a universal greeting that the righteous abide by willingly. You understand what I'm saying? I don't deal with the Bill Power talk like that. You know what I mean? If you see me and we God, peace God, peace God. You know what I mean? How you see the day's reality or whatever degree you're dealing with, that's just like the guy said. Because a lot of times, a lot of people still think that we don't even exist. Because every day I try to add on to my cipher, one form or another. You know what I mean? Like when I was coming, like I understand, because I came into a time where a lot of people were saying their rights and it was a fad. You know what I mean? They just wanted to be a part of something, didn't even know the history of what they was being a part of. You know what I mean? And I bought into that because I remember the first name I came up under when I was standing around the project was Positive Born of Law. And they used to have one of the biggest rallies and cycles around the project right on the basketball court. And I never forget one day when I came up there and somebody questioned me on my lessons and I didn't even know. But see, the only thing back then, I didn't have to worry about my head being taken off because they knew I wasn't going to let nothing happen to me because I already had a reputation of being around the project. So I didn't have to worry about that. But what it made me do was, it made me go back home and really get with my 120 and know and understand what, you know what I mean, what my lessons was. Because one thing about Farrakhan, what Farrakhan did say was, one thing about those 5%, they know their lessons. You know what I mean? Because no matter what, even when I was out there cutting up in my dark and dismal, you know what I mean? I still would try to add on, even though I was moving real quick. Peace, guys, you see this, we got blah, 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 and I'm gone. But now I know and understand, now that I got away from that cipher, I'm dealing with a whole nother cipher, I can breathe a little bit more easy. I just want to say, like, I'm just glad that I was able to come, bring my daughter and bring my old earth, and just have my daughter get a little piece of what's going on when she be hearing me on the phone talking to the guys, or when she be seeing me traveling, because a lot of times when people see me with my seeds of the guys, she say peace to them because she already know and understand the universal language because it's being spoken at the home with me. Because, like I said, I know and understand where it started. It started off with the babies, and like I just said, why not start off with my own? You know what I mean? So to my family out there, I like to say peace, God. Once again, my name is Freedom Born of Law. Peace.
Hey. Allah Savior, many know me as Shah Born. I came into this God myself 31 years ago. That don't mean nothing because the most important person in this room right now is the person that's here for the first time. You know what I'm saying? So that's the science of what this thing is all about. It's about keep teaching it and making it born and reach the masses of the people. Because the people still trying to find out who and what God is. Our people's taught that we was made in the image and likeness, this being of God. But we deny ourselves that direct link and that direct genealogy from that which we said we came. And it tells us was we made in His image and in His likeness. So with us coming from an upbringing of not being rooted and grounded into a teaching of who and what God is, it causes some type of unrest and unsettlement. Because I remember the first time I told my mom that I was God, she said, yeah, you God crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I went in the midst of trying to take all the pots and pans out the house because she was cooking bacon in it. You know, couldn't eat out of certain things and all that because that was my immaturity at the time. But I knew everything was real and I was serious about what I was dealing with. And I knew it was a penalty to be paid. You know what I'm saying? If I was, you found out. Because back then it was like, hey man, we're going to come visit. We're going to come to your house. Don't eat the one bread with the sandwich one. Eat the one with the giant one. You know, little stuff like that. Stay away from them Twinkies. They got lard in them. But the whole thing about it is as you get older, you mature, and you establish a foundation with yourself. And when you go through your trials and tribulations in life, as long as you sustain firm with mathematics and your alphabets, you will see your way through a lot of hell. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people get this knowledge, go through something, and never find their way back home. A lot of people get this knowledge and lose the knowledge of who they are when they got it. Like they was better off without getting it. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is don't get so engulfed with this thing because, everybody know who we are except us. So don't feel like you doing something so astronomical by you saying you God. Everybody know who we are except us. That is not nothing to go run around here, toot your horn about, and shouting it out on the mountain. You say, it took you so long, huh? You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing about that is coming into the full concept of putting that who you are in a tangible way into the world, positioning ourselves strategically like, now we got something to say, oh, that's where they be at, they say they God. That's their school. That's where they teaching. That's where they have a rally at. Now our knowledge is starting to come full circle to where though we got something to show for having this knowledge. We ain't got nothing to show for having this knowledge now. We're powerless people. So it's imperative that we come together and bring forth our resources so that way we got something that the people can see. Because like I was saying earlier, the job of modern day God is to take the devil off the planet, and our job ultimately is to stop the crime in our communities. You can't stop crime in the communities if you got the babies still running around on the streets. See, and I'm going to tell you, man, in everything, it's a degree of refinement. I don't care what it is. It's a degree of refinement in everything. In every world out there, it's a degree of refinement. It's up to you to master that world, get through it, and come out right. Because we're going to go through something. I'm going to tell you now, I ain't no holy individual, but I am righteous. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not going to steal from you, I'm not going to cheat you. I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. That's it. So with that, I'm going to say peace, and I'm glad to see everybody out.
Peace.
From the land of truth. Got knowledge of self in 1999. Let's say what knowledge of self did for me. Knowledge of self taught me how to be a man. You understand what I'm saying? Point blank period. Taught me how to be a man. Come home and be a responsible man. Take care of my family. You understand what I'm saying? Look out for myself. Use intelligence. Don't run around, keep opening your mouth, keep talking, use intelligence, my man. Be a man. Ain't hard. You understand what I'm saying? With that I say peace.
Peace.
It's my young guy, Prince.
Peace. A little restless. Peace. I was just listening to the God whose knowledge of self did for me, just the law, for the land of truth. Peace. You know, knowledge of self, I always tell you, yeah, without this knowledge of self, I would have been in the graveyard, penitentiary. So I take it seriously. And words is power, just as the law. I know in this grief, you got to be civilized, righteous, and have knowledge of self. Some people, once they had that, got that knowledge of self, went crazy. I can't play that. The older guys around here, they still around. I'm a little restless, you know, but the day wisdom cycle, I take my knowledge with me, you know, wisdom's manifestation. Of that knowledge, I really walk that walk. See what I'm saying? It's good without it, it's just beautiful, God. You know, I just want to show my face.
Peace, God.
Peace, Trenton, New Jersey. Peace. Peace to the God, peace to the earth. You know, positive force God, Allah. You know, I got knowledge in 1991. But I believe knowledge came to Trenton in 82, 83. Yeah, 83. You know what I'm saying? So I give all praise to Hamid. He was in that first generation. Allah Savior. A few of the other gods was in that first generation. But I wasn't in that first generation, but it wasn't archived. So oftentimes, you want to know the history of the nation of God, the little city of Trenton. If you ain't associated with the God Hanif Allah, think Emmanuel Shabazz, Allah Savior, a few other gods, you know, I'm not too sure exactly who was in that first generation, but if you ain't familiar with them, it'd be tough to get the history of Trenton, because I had to go through getting the history. I came in 91, I call that like a second generation. And when I came in 91, it was kind of re-sparked in 91. And now I'm seeing, now it's about to be re-sparked again for what I call the third generation. And that's what we're beginning to see here. So we want to bring all those who went through the cipher, the first generation, back in 82, 83, the second generation in the 90s, and now we're sparking again in the third generation. We want to bring all of them back because we got a serious problem here in the city of Trenton. Y'all know this year, we done reached our murder cap, our murder rate. We done equaled it, or did we surpass it? I believe, yeah, we surpassed it. So, and it's nothing but young men that's killing each other. Young black men that's killing each other. So now we have to bring the truth to these young black men and stop allowing the negativity of the streets to take hold of them, and we got to bring them to what we call the positivity. And what we teach, it ain't nothing like what we teach. Those who sitting here, you know, there's nothing like what we teach. You can call yourself a Muslim, you can call yourself a Jew, you can call yourself a Christian, you can call yourself a Moor, you can call yourself a Mason, but none of them titles can outweigh the title of God. Not one of those titles weigh more than the title of God. So if you can walk the streets, you got the power within yourself to say that I am God. If somebody step and say I'm a Moor, he's limited because he has a beginning and an ending. If he say I'm a Christian, or she say she's Christian, then they're limited because they have a beginning and an ending. If they say they're Muslim, they have a beginning and ending. But when you say you God, God has what? No beginning nor end. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is infinite, meaning he goes on and on in the future, and you can go as far back as you want to go, and you won't find a beginning, because that's God. Now today's degree is wisdom cipher. I think the God right he spoke about what's prescribed law of Islam to a said person that ability. I want to get into that, but before that, if you take that 2 steps back, you get into the knowledge build degree. What is duty of a civilized person? But I'm going to take it before that. You go to the knowledge build degree, in your alphabet, it's rule or ruler. Any theology or philosophy that you come about, there's rules. And when you deal with that word rule, you're dealing with an adjective and an action. The adjective is rule, which is a law, lessons, like for first rule, if you went to first grade, second grade, teacher said we have rules. You got to sit down. You got to be quiet. You got to raise your hand before you speak. There's rules. And then you have one who rules. That's the action. I rule my home. I rule my circumference. That's the action. Indeed, peace, making you a ruler. But first, you got to understand the rule. And what are the rules that an individual deals with? Any ideology or theology that you come about, there are rules. And if you don't follow those rules, then there's a penalty. And that's the next degree, the knowledge-born degree. If a civilized person does not perform his duty, which is teach civilization to others, he shall be punished with severe punishment. That's why they go into Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 18, St. Luke chapter 12, verse 47. There's penalties. So, in my opinion, if you look at the nation of God's earth as a whole, we have suffered a penalty from the first generation, 83, until now. And all of us is guilty of that. I'm guilty of that. We are all guilty of that. And that is why we have the condition of the young men in Trenton today. Because we have all dropped the ball to a degree. Because like I said, what we have and what we have the ability to teach, there is no ideology, no other religion, even though we are not a religion, or no teachings that can amount to what we have the ability to teach young men and make them who and what they are. But we all must carry the weight for that. And that takes you to today's degree. What is the prescribed laws of Islam to a said person of that ability? Who is that said person and what is the ability? The said person is the one who follows the rule. The said person is the one who understands what the penalty is if he or she does not follow the rule. But if you don't follow the rule, then you become subject to the penalty. Then therefore you're no longer that said person of what? That ability. Like I said, we are all guilty of that, including myself. What we want to do is we want to build this, and we want to go to the streets. And we want to teach these young men to put down that gun. Get an education. Leave the foolishness and the negativity alone, because there's a better way. Because all they see now is a casket and a prison cell. That's all they see now. Is a casket and a prison cell. And they don't understand, or they can't see that there's options. They don't understand that there's options outside of the casket and the prison cell and anything in between. They can't see that. They don't see that because there's no individuals out there teaching them on a regular basis. We have to become visual. Not only visual through, like I do entertainment. I may be visual in that avenue. Freedom, he's visual, maybe on Facebook. We got to be visual, physically, when we talk to these young men. Because now is the time. If it doesn't happen now, then the young men in the city of Trenton will be destroyed. And we'll become elderly or old men, and we will not be able to help them if we don't help them now. We have to help them now that we have what? The ability. And we have the resources in the city. In Trenton, you may see Trenton in different aspects, like politically. That'll be coming back because we're going to get leadership in this city that's going to recognize who the players in this city that can affect the young men. Because everybody can't affect the young men. Everybody can't affect young men in the city like Freedom can. Everybody in the city can't affect young men like I, God, or Hanif can. Because they come at them in a current that's unlike the current that they used to seeing. And you got to understand that you have that same power. I know many of you may be with your friends or some associates that may be gang related or doing negative actions. But sometimes you don't say a word. That's because you don't understand the power that you have to affect the change in their lives. And once you see that, then you'll begin to affect that. When you're in a group of people, and it's 5 or 6, 7 of y'all, and you're not the peaceful, the magnetic, and you got the knowledge that you got now, that's a problem. You say cream rises to the top. Anywhere you go, you're supposed to rise to the top. And if that's not happening, then that's a problem. If you let some Christians and some Muslims and some Moors rule you when you in that cipher, that's a problem. Either what you got ain't the truth, or you don't believe or understand the power that you got with the teachings that you got. And I'm telling you, what you got is the truth. So it got to be the latter. The latter is you don't understand what you got. So you're not allowing that to flourish from out of you to affect them. And I don't care if you're weak on your job. I'm talking about even if you do go to church, you're supposed to affect them with the teachings that you know. I work at my job. I work around all 85ers. But they look at me like I am far off. I done go out union president. I done save jobs. I walk in there with the whitest white man. And he has to do nothing but bow. But that's because I've studied. I go in there with his rules. I go in there, I negotiate the contract. I go in there with the contract and his rule, his administrative code. And I tell him, your code says this, so you got to honor that. And he has no choice. But that's only because I've studied. That's only because I've seen the power that I have and how I can affect people around me. And they call me Ronald in here. But like I said, it ain't necessarily what they call you, it ain't necessarily what you wear. It's your actions and what you know. You seen the movie The Spook Who Sat Behind the Door? We all got to play that to some degree. Because we ain't going to change this overnight. It's impossible. But you can change it in different avenues, in different arenas that you may circle in. So my point is, man, we got to get this, man. And you got to understand that the rule, when I talk about the rule, you got to understand the rules, because most people don't apply the rules properly. See, when you deal with mathematics, let me give you an example, because I like numbers. If you take 2 plus 3 times 4, if you don't apply the rules properly, then you won't get the correct answer. So 2 plus 3 is 5, times 4 is 20. Now you go to a mathematician, guess what? You're wrong. 2 plus 3, which is 5, that's wrong. You know why? Because the rule says you must multiply and divide before you add and subtract. So when you see a multiplication sign, you got to say 3 times 4 is 12. You know what I'm saying? You got to do the multiplication first. And then 12 plus 2 is 14. The answer is not 20, the answer is 14. But if you don't apply the rules correctly, multiply and divide before you add and subtract, what looks simple is not as simple as you thought it was, even though it is simple. It's just that you didn't apply the rules correctly. So my question is, understand what the rules are. Become, like he said, a ruler. And the rules is mathematics and science will give you the answer to anything you want to know. There ain't no mystery, God. Like Savior said, the most important person in here is the person who was here for the first time. I'm telling you, everything has an answer. You just got to research and study. There ain't no mystery. There ain't no such thing as a coincidence. Everything's happened for a reason. Even though it's negative, then why did God make devils? To show forth his power. So he created something negative just to show his power. So if you see something that's negative, that don't mean it's bad. You just got to be able to see the rule. You got to look at the rule and be able to apply it and see how you can learn a lesson from it. That's why we study lessons. Everything is a lesson. If something happens to you and you get emotional and break down and run and scared or cry, then you haven't seen or be able to understand what the lesson is. And why are you not able to see that? Because you're not recanting back to mathematics and science. Science means to see the essence. Everything is based on mathematics. Everything. The universe was created on mathematics. But you gotta put the study in to be able to see and understand why things are happening. And I'm telling you now, what's happening now in the city, like I said, there's no such thing as a coincidence. What's happening is supposed to happen. Like I said, then why did God make devil? God just created a situation in the city of Trenton, 33, 34 young black men murdering each other. So now, then why did God make that? Then why did God create that situation? To what? To show forth his power. And guess where his power is at right now? Right here in this damn room. The power is right here. But like our God said, you got to follow that rule. You got to study your lessons. And then when you study your lessons, you know 120. Knowledge is infinite. So you can never just know enough. Matter of fact, Einstein said the more that he learned, the more he realized he didn't know. So the more that you learn, the more ignorant you become if you understand and you humble yourself to knowledge. You can always learn something. You can read a book that may not be necessarily what you understand or what you study, but you still can read it because you can take the what? The best part. There's always truth in something. You just take the best part. So I pick up an Essence magazine. I'll pick up a skateboard magazine. Just look through it and read it. I may learn something about speed or distance or balance. It's truth in everything. So don't ever think that you know it all. I mean, nobody knows it all, right, Sean?
Absolutely.
Nobody knows it all. If somebody claims that they know it all, then you need to get away from that.
Run.
Because like I said, the more you know, the more you learn. If you realize that there's more that you need to learn, and you claim to know it all, then you ain't learning nothing. You need to get away from that person. I'm positive force. I'm just going to say peace. But I'm going to say peace and leave it for y'all. Peace.
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 Born Justice, I'm from here in Trenton, New Jersey. Got a lot of gratitude for this nation. I first heard the name Born Justice when I was quietly 6 years old. It was 1988. I stayed on 231 Garfield Avenue. And I was just playing, bumping my head in the walls. I never skipped a beat. You know, a couple neighbors down the street said, Born Justice, what's up? I'm like, hey, I ain't know. Still running the plan. You know, years later, you know, I went through a whole bunch of different scenarios, but to hear this name come back and resurface again in about like 2007, it was like the name had followed me. Born Justice. My past followed me all the way up, you know, into here. You know, and being an adult, I knew the significance behind a name, Born Justice. And so now, you know, I wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about it. You know, now, okay, yeah, tell me about, you know, these truths. And see, that's that wisdom right there. You know, wisdom, you know, the wise words being spoken, you know, to speak knowledge and, you know, a reflection of one's knowledge. You know, and we bring wisdom, you know, into the cipher. I wasn't necessarily doing that. You know, like coming up adolescent age, you know, so for me, like to sit here, I can't, it's hard for me to sit there and bash these kids for a lot of stuff that they do, because I was the same way. A lot of us inside this room was probably, you know, the same way, where we weren't bringing the right wisdom, you know, into the cipher. You know what I mean? I ran with a whole bunch of different drug dealers and gang members, all that type of stuff, and then like getting out of that life and then coming into this knowledge, it was almost like a transition. Like when I was coming into the knowledge, I was leaving that stuff alone. I was leaving all of that alone because I really did want something better for myself. Like I actually had drug dealers and gang members actually telling me, you know, it's good, you know, that you bettered yourself. You know, like I'm happy for you, I'm glad for you. You know, you got a family and stuff now, you know, that's cool. You know, a lot of can't get out of that life. And once you in there for life, and the only way out is that. You know, I had one of them families, one of them big families where, you know, I got out. I got out of it. And a lot of brothers are happy that I did. And, you know, for the sake of Trenton, like the way it is now, I'm glad that I got out too. I could have easily been a statistic out there, help raising that crime rate or anything. You know, so now, you know, I do try to give back, you know, to a lot of these kids and try to tell them firsthand, you know, because I actually been inside that boat doing some of the same things, if not worse. You know, so like it is a chance for you to change things around and better your life, you know, and improve yourself. And that's how I try to reach a lot of these, you know, kids. I'm inside the beer industry. You know, I don't really try to glorify that a lot, you know, but it pays the bills. I'm a comedian on my spare time. I actually do comedy shows, so that's my outlet right there. And you know, at the Just, man, inside beer delivery, because we inside all types of neighborhoods. I'm out east side, I'm out west side, I'm out south side, I'm out north side, all of there. So I interact with a lot of these brothers who are Bloods and Crips and Latin Kings and like all this other stuff. And even at the job where I'll be right in the middle of both of them, where I have a Blood here and a Crip here, and you know, the supervisor's a Catholic guy, and everybody's like at each other's necks. But as long as you sit here and then we chip away and we get down to the bottom of this, and I'm gonna add this wisdom onto the cipher, then it becomes somewhat of a seminar here now. What do you mean? You're God, and this and that and the third. Well, okay, you know, you're gonna tell me your truth and your background, but it's limited. And you're gonna tell me your truth and your background is limited. And then here I am, I come like a month later and I'm still on a whole different other subject. We still right back to where we go, because it's not limited. That knowledge is infinite. You know, here, you know, we could bump heads. The dude told me, well, yeah, you say you got, huh? Well, how your knowledge gonna take you if I just hit you real hard and then you hit the ground? How much you got then? I was like, man, listen, Jesus taught freedom, justice, and equality, and he still got tested. Still got tested and crucified. So I'm like, man, you could do that, man. I'm like, my word's still gonna be strong. It's still gonna be strong. It's gonna stand strong. And hey, listen, I ain't just gonna go down like that. You're gonna have a fight. What you're making right now is a statement, and it's controversial. Now, mind you, the same brother that came to me, you know, controversially, and as we going through it day by day at the Just, because we pretty much interacting with each other, we're obligated to interact with each other. Now this brother see me, hey, you want to go to the room and talk about that history stuff again? You want to tell me some more about this stuff here again? And you know what? It ain't trying to convert you or change your mind or whatever the case may be, but you know what? That knowledge is strong and it's infinite. And I have a lot of gratitude for being inside this nation. I got self-esteem, I got confidence. I'm, you know, keeping the wall strong inside my family structure. You know, teaching the babies little bit by little bit. My wife, you know, she is observant of who I am. My mother, she is observant of who I am. You know, and you know, we can sit there and we can have our debates. This is back and forth about Christianity and my culture. Well, we walk away with some respect. And she has a newfound respect for me, because I could have easily been that kid out there smoking, drinking, sniffing, and doing everything. So she's like, listen, if the nation is what empowers you and makes you strong and what gets you up every day, and this is what's carrying you and change you to this individual, more power to you, than do it. And we step away from each other, respect like that. I love her, she loves me dearly. And you know, this is who I am now. Much stronger, just better. I got a lot of gratitude for this nation. That's all I have. Peace.
Got positive force, God Allah, again here in Trenton, New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? We're part of the nation of gods and earths. I want to introduce this brother. This is Power God. This brother got a strong history here in the city of Trenton. So I just want to briefly ask him a couple of questions in order to get his understanding of how I see the nation of gods and earths in Trenton. The first question I want to ask you, Power God, peace. Peace first.
Peace, God.
First question I want to ask you is, you had knowledge for how many years, God?
I don't even know the exact days, months, and years, God. I know it's since 81.
Since the 80s, okay, that's peace.
I will, God.
So what I want to ask you is, how has the nation of gods and earths affected you from the time you got knowledge yourself until the day?
I said it had a profound impact on me, God. It actually taught me how to read, write. It gave me history lessons. It taught me about sciences. It taught me about math. Like a lot of things that I would have learned in elementary school, which I did learn, it helped take it to the next level. It allowed me to be able to stand firm and be confident in when I'm speaking, when I'm building, and really knowing and understanding from top to bottom whatever subject matter that I was dealing with. Because part of our nation is not to be right, but to be right and exact. So with that little tad bit, it took me on a long journey up to this point, God.
Okay, that's peace. One more question. How do you see the Nation of Gods and Earths affecting the youth in the city of Trenton from this point on, since we start this resurgence of teaching on the streets? What do you think that effect will have on the young people here in the city of Trenton, particularly those ones that's dealing in this gang activity?
Not to sound redundant, I think it will have I think it's going to have a profound effect, and it's going to have it in a positive effect. What happens is once the youth start seeing us as a whole doing different things and introducing them to different things, then things will change. It's all about more or less a mindset, God, than anything else. And as they was groomed and reared in whatever mindset that they're dealing with, whether it's a gang mentality, whether it's poor education, whatever the spectrum is, once they get a new awakening to it, then they'll always come about change. Because, you know, with the youth, it's just introduction, God.
Peace. You just got to let them see it.
Exactly.
Once they see it, then the teachings will take its course.
Exactly. Because everybody wants to be a part of something. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be an island amongst themselves.
Okay, so you're saying they being introduced to the gangs because they want to be part of something, but nobody else is giving them another alternative to be a part of.
Right, exactly. Okay. Couldn't have said it no better myself, God. And that's the reason.
All right, that's peace, God.
Peace, bro. A lot of things that El Rahid, Supreme Man, Positive Force spoke on was related to more or less rebuilding our nation. At the end of the day, we all don't have any common interests or any common bonds. There is no way, shape, form, or fashion that we're going to be able to go from now to born. So, yes, we got Supreme Mathematics, Supreme Alphabets. Yes, we got 120, all as common threads. However, it's not the thing that binds us. And what I mean by binds is this. You have what El Rahid said as separation by cliques, north, east, south, and west, based on relationships. Relationships are born, formed, and are grown based on equality, how you deal with one another. The relationships that are now trying to be forged has to have commonality. Commonality is a root of equality, meaning that we have to be equal in something. We don't have to have the same amount of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, or refinement. However, we have to have commonality. We have to have something that intrigues us to make us want to do more. El Rahid spoke about doing some community activism as far as doing some volunteer work outside in the community. That is great. That is all well and good. And we need to do that, and we need to touch on that. However, how is that going to make us more stronger, more complete as a nation? One way it would, because it'll start putting the big I's and the little U's aside. It'll start making the sisters see us in a more human-like. And I don't mean human as in color, I mean human as more feminine, more equal to talk to, more equal to deal with. Wisdom ciphers the day's mathematics, all being born to wisdom. Wisdom is the manifestation of knowledge, right? What is the information, what is the data that you are consuming every day that you're able to share with me and I'm able to share with you to keep that common bond tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter? Is it financial information? Is it social information? Is it frivolous BS? Just regular buffoonery? What is it? Again, we got knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We got 120. We got different books of varying degrees. We have all this information and all this data in front of us. However, what is it that is going to keep us bonded? Force was talking about the prescribed laws. El Rahid was talking about the prescribed laws. However, each God, each wisdom, or each God and each earth, what prescribed laws are you more in tune with? Which prescribed laws do you utilize daily, every day, to show and prove your existence as a true and living black man and a true and living black woman? Our names are exemplified of who we are. This is why he's Positive Force, he's Supreme Man, he's God's son, he's now Allah, he's Sharu, he's the universal, he's natural, he's born you, he's the law savior, he's just, he's a law Shakim. These names are commonality too, because at the end of our name, our last name is Allah. It's no way, shape, form found around it. Wisdom is the actions that are utilized for a common purpose. And what I mean by that is this. Once this nation comes together and we start formulating and delegating different types of duties, whoever is responsible to uphold those duties has to do it by works, not by words, not by manifestation, by works, by action, hard work and labor. This is what we need. They was talking about the first generation. The first generation basically got it, did what they wanted to do with it, because that's how it was given to them. The second generation took it, got it, went for outside counseling and instruction, and became more solid as far as 120. Knowing and understanding they 120 from top to bottom and everything in between. The first generation did it as well. However, they did it in a fastidious type of manner. With that being said, the commonality is we're all still here. So it had to be something that was true and living in Allah's teaching. One of my spiritual fathers, I call him, Ahmed Allah, he returned to the essence, right? How he rock. He told me one day, he said, when I was in Madawan, and I was building with Allah, Allah asked me, what can I do for this nation? Ahmed said, all I can do is follow your guidance. So what his guidance was to teach he who is savage, civilization. That's what he was doing. He taught me something. He taught me a lot of refinement, a lot of civilization. However, it was a commonality that we shared. I looked at him and took to him like my old dad, my old God. So now I was always open to his wisdom. Thus, he guided me in the right direction. And I was never led in the wrong direction by dealing with him. Again, commonality is the theme. It's the thing for this nation. It's the thing for the nation of the gods and earth and the land of truth. It's commonality. We need commonality rooted in the law's teachings, yet with a firm direction. We need a firm direction. We need firm projection. We need to know our destination. Force, now why, supreme man, divine law, like they have vision. They see further than some of us see. We see further than some of they see in different directions and different currents. The Son of Man causes all this to happen. Rain, snow, hail, and earthquakes. Only reason, because thoughts and ideas is what shapes a man and or a woman. And it shapes a family. However, it needs action, which is wisdom again. Commonality. That's what brings a family together. All I can give to you is experiences, which is wisdom. All you can give to me is experiences, which is wisdom. No matter how old, how young, or anything in the middle. These are your prescribed laws. It's to teach every day that what you are capable of teaching. Don't teach nothing that you don't know anything about. Please. Don't do that. Because now you're misleading. And now you're not doing the duty of a civilized person. Now you're not acting like what civilization is. One having knowledge, one understand the culture and refinement. And is not a savage in the pursuit of happiness. That is what the meaning of civilization is. Civilizations can only be formed and held and matured into the next decades as long as it's commonality. Once it loses fiber, once it loses commonality, the nation falls, the country falls. It's anarchy. It's nothing but savages coming. It's pillaging of the nation, which they was talking about in Mecca, and Philly and all that. All that's garbage. Because we can't even use that as an example. You know why we can't use that as an example? It's because we're not trying to repeat it. We can see, we can look at it, we can understand it, but we're not trying to repeat it. And oftentimes, we attach ourselves to certain things and it becomes us before we become them. Pardon me. We become them before they become us. And that's, dead people, that be around us because of commonality. You might smoke, drink, or whatever. That's that commonality. We don't need that. Not here. So with that, I say peace.
I haven't knowledge 120 yet, but what I wanted to speak on is one thing that I do, and that's why my name is Natural, is because I have a natural way of life. I have an understanding what we're supposed to do for these young people. So I have understanding cipher of young black brothers that I go around and I talk to. They all under HAM, and it stands for Hard Amen. And what I do is I have them go around, do something positive for somebody in the neighborhood once every couple weeks that don't cost them nothing. May help a lady with her groceries, may cut somebody's grass, and that's what I try to build with them first off, and just get them off the streets and let them know that there's somebody out here that will be here for you, that don't need to have you doing anything else. So right now, that's what I'm building on, and I'm still gonna be here every week or every month, and I build the God El Rahim every day, and the God Shah every day, and that's what I wanted to let y'all know. That's what I'm about right now, is getting these young brothers to do something and make sure that they can come around, and a lot of the queens and earths can actually see young brothers coming around and helping them and doing something positive every single time that they can get a chance to. Peace.
When I first came up, I didn't make proper introductions as my attribute of being divine coach, everlasting God. I didn't build on today's mathematics, which is wisdom cycle, all being born with wisdom. So far on the platform today, we spoke on what it is we need to do. That's easy, because we identify what the problem is, because we travel with some of the same struggles that everybody else travel with throughout life. The thing is, what are the actions that's going to be taken in correcting what it is the problems that may be. We all have been given or came in contact to or know supreme mathematics, and through supreme mathematics, this is how we be able to make the corrections that is needed for whatever problems that we come across. Yeah, it's on us to be able to start doing what it is that needs to be done and applying mathematics and finding the answer to those problems that we are bombarded with daily within the community that we live in. Because it's so important to try to help and resurrect the people who are around us the same way we resurrected ourselves. It was a process in that. It was a process in being able to identify the problem within ourselves, how to make the corrections with those problems, and how to become a better us. The people who are attached to you are our brothers and sisters. So it's important that we try to make the corrections with them as well, because now they don't know what it is they need to know. So we have to apply what it is needs to be known in our ways and actions and apply that to their cycle, because we got it. So now what it is our duty to do, to give it. We attain knowledge to give it away. It's up to the person whom you give it to is whether or not they're going to use it right or wrong. But no matter what, always teach. One of the elder gods I was around in the past, coming up in the nation of gods of earth, because I am part of the first resurrection with Karina Magnetti, with Yakumo, you understand what I'm saying? But I wasn't here for those who came in the generation after to know who I am. But I attained knowledge self back then. So in that era, if you was quoting the lessons you didn't know it, you got bombed, or you got a beat down, or you had to go back and know your lessons. You couldn't even come outside if you didn't know your lessons. You understand what I'm saying? Because that was the required and prescribed law for back then. So now, as time moved on, I was around another brother and I said, man, you don't even know his lesson. I'm gonna take this lesson from him. Because this is what I knew from back then. The older brother said, now Cypher. He said, what do you mean now Cypher? He said, now Cypher, don't take this lesson. I said, why not? He said, because you never know, he might go back up again and start applying his lesson like he's supposed to. Coming up out of a sickness that you've been living with for so long, it's so very hard. You understand what I'm saying? Trying to live the weight of your 7 1/2 daily is hard if you never wore it constantly and continuously like you wore the wrong suit. If you wore a tight suit and tight shoes, that's what you're used to. But now once you put on a suit that's comfortable and the shoes that's comfortable, it's abnormal to you. It don't even feel right. But the truth of the matter is, that's what is right. You understand what I'm saying? It's like changing and stop eating the wrong food. If you was eating, if you was drinking alcohol all the time, now to be sober, it don't even feel right. You understand what I'm saying? Because you can't function without it. But making that progression takes time. It's a step-by-step process. So when you say you want to come and give something to somebody, and you want to make them, allow them to make change, you have to know how to do it within yourself and also be able to give it into them. Because now you're coming into their personal life. And the level of trust nowadays is not as easy as it was when I was younger. You understand what I'm saying? When I was younger, it was all right, you know, to be friends with whoever across the street without any ramifications. You know what I'm saying? Of your life being in danger. So nowadays, people are guarded with their personal selves into who they're going to allow to let walk in that door. So now when you go and come amongst and allow a person to say, I want you to be a part of this, it's a trust thing. And you have to show and prove that. So we always build. And when we build, we show them who we are and that we are trustworthy. You understand what I'm saying? And we sincere and we honest. And it's how people allow you to let you in to be able to show them what it is that's needed and apply the proper tools or use the proper tools mechanically to make changes. You understand what I'm saying? The Wisdom Build degree and the 140. It says, what was your include first rules and regulations, including all laws enforced by manufacturing endeavor. This job he gave to the doctors, ministers, the nurses, and the cremators. But you yourself was your own doctor. You minister whatever necessary you need through mathematics. You nurse yourself back to health, and then you cremated what it is that you don't need. And that was just for you, and it may be different for someone else, because everybody operate under a different school of thought. You understand what I'm saying? Because some people, even though they think the same way, they operate on a different beat. So you have to find their rhythm, their frequency that they operate on, to be able to inject to them what it is that is needed. Because that's done through sound. Now they're listening to you. You have their undivided attention. And you have to speak what it is that needs to be spoken. And then that sound is the magnetic truth. And now that's the attraction. Now you begin to show and prove to them what it is that they need. Now they're listening. Because of what they heard, they never heard before. This is how you show and prove who God is. Now you're walking with him. Because now your lessons is walking in him. And you're showing proof in your ways and actions. And they're going to be attracted to that. But you can't say you're God one day and the next day you something else. Because then they're going to say you're a fraud. You know? If you go on a course and you go on a path, you go about it every day. Because we go all day, every day. Our job is never done. Our duty is not just one duty. We multitask. The guard is in the arena. He deals with kids. He deals with politics. He deals with real estate. He deals with all fashions. So when he say we teach all human families on the planet Earth, you're going to come in contact with a lot of people. You understand what I'm saying? The planet weighs 6 septillion tons, a unit followed by 21 cycles. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of weight you got to uphold. Sometimes it becomes a struggle, but our shoulders take the cap again. You understand what I'm saying? Because we created it. And once we come into the reality that we are the making, the owner, and the cream of the planet Earth, and then everything that came about came through us, then we'll know how to deal with it. But we constantly have to build and make the change. When we ready to make changes in ourselves, then we make changes in others. And then showing our ways and actions. And we want to apply that in this cycle right here. But it takes us to come together with the ideas. Find out how to go about structuring it. And then move out on it. Because right now we're just building on what we know. What's the wisdom of it? What's going to be the ways and actions? Right? And then how are we going to apply this understanding to the masses? Because it begins in here. We're just doing the knowledge. Then we can do the wisdom. And then once we go outside the doors, we're going to bring about the understanding. We're able to show and prove to the people what it is they need to know. But like I said, it starts right here. So now what's the next move? Because we done did the knowledge to analyze and document what the problem is. Well, we're going to minister and nurse the people back and cremate what it is that they don't need. How are we going to get their attention? The first step is with the people that's right within your immediate circle. The people that you talk with every day, that you want to job with, that you wake up, that you on the phone, that you on Facebook. You can just bring up a simple topic. Earlier I spoke on, you can just start from that chair and turn that chair into an intellectual conversation. You understand what I mean? Where it's going to enhance their development, their thoughts. And they said, man, I want to speak with him all the time. But this is the magnetic that everybody has within themselves. But you have to tap into it to know what your magnetic is. This will come the knowledge of self. To know yourself. And then be able to show and prove it. Peace, man.
The account is at $328. So we had started the account previously before. I think we collected 100 and something for the last rally at the monument. So, like God Supreme Man said, I don't use the root as a reference point. I use my own self and being a quote Supreme Mathematics to come and be physically present to be examined. I'll be transparent at all times, not hard to find. And unlike in the root where there's always a misconception or things become mysterious, which really shouldn't exist when you're writing exactly all that you do, I'm going to be transparent. You're going to see me here every month. I'm going to give an update. If there's any inquiries, you have my number, my mathematics, because that's important. And it's important to build trust, because trust allows you to establish a rapport. And rapport allows you to build relationships. And we don't have relationships because we don't trust each other. And that part of coming here together is to build that foundation of a brother and sisterhood so we can deal with that on that terms and be responsible men and women. And the other piece I would say is, when you come here, have something to say. You know, add on to some positive manner. Don't just every month come here and look to take away from here. Bring something back to the rally. You know, I work on a plethora of things in terms of politics. I'm working on a mental health issue that I'm looking to bring through here as well. And like I said, the more as I develop my program, I'm looking to have opportunities to actually be able to provide employment for God's nurses who want to come through and teaching the mentoring program I do. But again, that's putting my name on the line, so we need to be responsible. Because you're around the babies, and in turn, forces come through and seeing what we do. And he actually taught when he came through. His seed is part of the program. So I have no problem adding on, providing opportunities, but again, like the God said, I'm not bringing anybody around my circumference, especially not the babies, if I don't know you and then can't trust you. So just for you to come through here and me to know your name, that's just part of the process. I have to know who you are, what field of operation you endeavor upon, and that's your word is bond. I don't know if nobody heard, the young queen just said, peace, God. So that's all you got to do is teach. We keep acting like it's some microbiology report. All you got to be is an example of the change you're trying to bring into existence. I used to fear getting up, talk to Supreme Man all the time. I said, man, how you do that? And he actually took me through it. Forced the same way, because they were eloquent speakers at the rallies when it first started. So in terms of stop talking about the babies like they're a foreign substance. All you got to do is teach them. Be around them and show them some love and be a responsible person. And the instructional format will come through the conversation you have. Most of the time, in terms of teaching, you got to be quiet and listen. Because when you hear some of the hell they're going through, you'll understand why they're so dysfunctional. And that will allow you to start making a blueprint to build a conversation with them so they can trust you and begin to help you help themselves. That's how we do what we do. Like I said, I don't even get to the lesson. It's just civilized behavior. Respectful, responsible individuals. Okay, you got students now in the 6th and 7th grade who tell grown men and women to suck this and that. All of that. That's what we're dealing with. So that's why I say I know when certain people get up, you're not really in the streets teaching because your language is not common, or like God said, commonality to what's going on now. And to stop making it like it's some high science, man. Just be an example of what this is, and we teach. I'm not looking, honestly, to travel anywhere. I want to solidify and build our foundation right here, get us tight, and then we can travel abroad. Because I think we grand scale build too much. We look to go other places and be with other people. And really, we're just starting to, again, get some consistency and build it right here. Let's build that back, get that strong, and then others are going to come in because we really where they want to be at. You know, and again, we're not New York and we're not Philly, so the landmass is smaller. So it's really no excuse for us not making this happen. Just stop gravitating towards the negativity, man. Gravitate towards something positive and build on that. And then when you come and lead, bring something every rally. Come up here and bring something, add on to the cipher. Much more than your name. You're not going to get razor sharp and be able to be confident with it unless you build your confidence, which is internally doing the research to this knowledge. Like our God said, you can't get up here and expound on something you don't know. We know and understand 120 lessons. If you don't know your lessons, start studying. Nobody going to chase behind you. You have to build independently on your own because what you do impacts the whole. Peace.
Because a lot of strong minds in here.
Peace.
You know, the sleeping giant is waking up, as Ford said on Facebook after the last rally. You know, I just sit back contemplating a lot of science is being born.
Most of it we already know, but it hasn't been put into activation. So if you ain't taking this knowledge and utilizing it properly and making it walk, it's a waste. It's like dealing with a mystery God, something you search no time waiting for. So now is the time to build and take different avenues. But what I'm concerned about is the consistency with us. Like we all here today, this is just one day. Once a month, that sounds good, but we need other activities to take place during the month to keep us bonded. We need things to do with our babies together as a family. We done had situations right here in our city where one God's son killed the other God's son. And it came from a lack of us not bringing them up as a family together. Our last name is Allah. We all one family. So we need activities to take place. Even if we just get things going over in the park. Yeah, even if it's just minor activities to start out with. Racquetball, anything that can bring us together and do something as a family so we can start bonding and get to know each other. Then once we start bonding and get to know each other, we can start having dinners at each other's homes and trust each other and come to each other's houses like we once did. But those things don't take place. Peace.
Peace. You got Positive Force again, the Nation of Gods on Earth here in Central New Jerusalem, Trenton, New Jersey. We starting to archive what we're doing here in the city of Trenton, and we're going to teach those who don't know our history here in the city of Trenton. But I got my man Hanif Allah.
Peace.
He had knowledge for how long, God?
Since 1987.
He had knowledge since 1987. He is in what I call the first generation of gods that hit the city of Trenton, who had a profound effect on the teachings of those of us who got knowledge now. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't exist. So this brother is amongst that group of men who actually took the time to study so that he could pass it on to those of us who are now here in the future. But I want to ask you, Supreme Man, Hanif Allah, you had knowledge since 83.
No, 87.
Since 87. What effect do you think the Nation of Gods and Earths had in that day and time on the young men in the city of Trenton in the 80s when you got
Well, what I think it did is it gave you a self-respect. By saying that you was God, most people see that and they think like superheroes. But what it actually did was just give you a foundation of power within yourself. You don't have to look outside of yourself to be powerful or to get nothing, because everything exists within you. And that's like the foundation of our teaching. All things in the universe exist within you. So when we got that knowledge, we tried to embody that. You know what I mean? And take it to a level of having things. Because during that time, we really wasn't having the knowledge of being able to acquire things, you know, from a business standpoint, from a personal standpoint. So by us getting the knowledge of ourselves, it gave us like a guideline to that.
Okay, that's peace. All right, now we're going to take it to today. Like we start what I call the third generation. Now what effect do you think, or how successful will we be in teaching these young men who are into this gang activity, this drug world? What effect do you think our teachings will have on them if presented properly to these young men and women that's killing each other out there right now?
I think what it will do is it will give us self-respect. I had spoke about that earlier here. I try to teach self-respect before knowledge of self, because a lot of people, they don't even know they self. You know, part of that, the pants off the ass, you know, we dealt with that, but we didn't have our whole backside out. You know what I mean? We didn't walk around with our shoes untied. You know, we didn't walk around with hats 3 sizes too big.
That's right.
But that's all no self-respect. And that's the thing about it. They don't have respect in the way they look, the way they talk, the way they educate ourselves. So once we get them back into respecting themselves, we can guide them into being better people, because that's what we need to do first before we even get them into any knowledge. Be a better person.
Peace. I can see that. Peace. I'm Positive Force God Allah. This is Trenton, New Jersey, Central New Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? We're members of the Nation of Gods and Earths. This right here is God Allah Savior. He's been part of the Nation of Gods and Earths for how many years, God?
31 years, God.
31 years. He was part of what I call the first generation. So right now we resurrecting what we call the third generation. So God Allah Savior, I want you to explain real briefly when the Nation of Gods and Earth started, when you started in Trenton, New Jersey, when did you get knowledge as far as when it came to Trenton, New Jersey? And explain how tough it was teaching in that day and time what we know as Allah's teachings. How tough it was teaching in that day and time?
Peace, God. The knowledge came to the city in the latter part of wisdom, which is 82. And it really became fluent in 1983. That's when Yakumo met Kareem Magnetic. And at that time, Kareem's name was Kareem Mishan. And after that, he added on Father Unique, whose name was Raul at the time. And then after that, the city just flourished. Everybody named Mama, so to speak, had knowledge itself. That's right. However, it wasn't an easy climate. It was a turbulent time because it was something that was considered to be taken seriously. You had to know your mathematics, you had to know your lessons. You could not come outside advocating today's degree and you didn't know it. You was held accountable for every word that came out your mouth because you had a thing that was called a universal beatdown. Universal beatdown was something where if you in a cipher and you got the floor, you telling the brother that you know 120 degrees and he asks you about something in a particular lesson and you can't answer, we called that perpetrating. Like you perpetrating a fraud. And you might have got through a mental ass whooping, excuse my expression, or a physical one. And that's just how it was back then. I came into the knowledge myself in January 1983. And I was small as a toothpick. So I had to get in tune with my lessons real diligently and study hard. And I'm proud to say that I'm still here today, being that I went through a lot of hardships and trials and tribulations in my life. However, it was these lessons, it was these degrees that helped me maintain. And I didn't have to fall into no church, no mosque. I didn't have to go into any of those avenues as a crutch. This is what sustained me now to this day.
Peace. Okay, we're going to take it to this day and time. How can the teachings of the Nation of Gods and Earths affect these young men and women today that's being brought into this gang activity? Is it possible, or can the Nation of Gods and Earths help save some of those babies that's getting into gang activities? Can we change their way of thinking and make them do right through our teaching?
Like yourself, meaning yes. Because at one time, I was a hard head. At one time, I roamed the streets. At one time, I did wrong. However, it was these teachings that helped me develop a sense of civilization and pride about myself, to where as though I wouldn't want to continue that downward spiral into prison houses and death before I began to see what the value of life is really about. So it's imperative that we bring this knowledge to the people in the street because that's what it's for. That's for the people that need it the most. It's imperative that the people that's in these gangs get this knowledge so we can begin to change the condition and on their outlook of what they see as a value system. See, they have to be taught a sense of morale. They have to be taught a sense of a value, meaning like a stable home. What it means to have a stable home, what it means to be a parent, what it means to be a father and a provider. These things, these children don't have. Half of them don't even know who their physical father is. So they are guided by the people that they look up to, which I once did, the people in the street. And 9 times out of 10, the people that they're looking up to and that's guiding them is guiding them in the wrong direction. They're guiding them into the prison houses and they're guiding them into death and a life of destruction.
Okay, that's peace. One last question before I move on to the next brother. What do you see, or how do you see the Nation of Gods and Earths? Will they be successful within the next 10 years in the city of Trenton in teaching our young men? Or what will make the Nation of Gods and Earths successful in the next 10 years in teaching our young men to get out of the struggle?
We're going to be successful regardless of whom or what, because we have a determined idea to save the lives of our people. That's our ultimate goal, is to change the condition in the lives of our people. In order to achieve that, we have to create a safe haven for them, meaning we need a school so that we can take our children off the streets, so that we can educate them. Because this system, this school, this educational system has failed our children. The parental structure has failed our children. So now it's up to us to reestablish these principles into our children's lives. And in the next 10 years, we're going to set the trend for the world of what these nations' teachings is about. Peace.
God, Allah said, New Jersey, 23 years of knowledge of self. Peace.
Peace, God.
This is positive force, God Allah.
She saw her son.
Represent the nation of gods and earths. We're going to start archiving through Irvin J Productions. Get the teachers for the nation of gods and earths. When we teach, what's the duty of a civilized person? The duty of a civilized person is to teach he who is a savage, civilization, righteousness, the knowledge of himself, and the science of everything in life. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay tuned for the nation of gods and earth. Peace to Irvin J Productions. Peace.